Here we go. We're finally here to do a review. If you hit that thumbs up, I'll read it to you. Put your hands together and hit subscribe. If you do all that, you can join the tribe. Huh. Sorry for that bit of cringe, but this game just brings something out of me. What is that? Some kind of small piece of something, like a speck of sand or something. Oh wait, I know what it is. It's my last bit of childlike wonder. I knew it was still in there somewhere. You don't get a game like Donkey Kong Bananza every day. In fact, you don't get a game like Donkey Kong Bananza even once in a generation. No, this is a game that is so special, so unique, and yet so completely satisfies every desire I have ever wanted in a platform game for the past 20 years since Rare was sold to Microsoft. Yes, I'm gonna get into that later. I remember last year when Astrobot came out for the PS5, and that knocked everyone's socks off. Except, of course, for the fact that it lacked kind of a central identity and it kind of coasted off of other IPs. It was a really fun game. And a lot of people were talking about it coming close and perhaps even beating Super Mario Odyssey off its pedestal because the platforming, graphics, and sound were just that good. And people were wondering how Nintendo was going to answer back. Now, I'm not saying that Bananza's the answer, but it's a pretty damn good answer if it is. The creators of Donkey Kong Bananza are insane. I mean, literally insane. There were moments in this game where my jaw didn't only drop, but I was looking on in complete uncontrolled befuddlement, and yet I was completely overjoyed at the same time. In Donkey Kong Bananza, you don't just play as Donkey Kong, you are Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong in this universe is an actual domestic terrorist, by the way. I mean, Osama's got nothing on DK. I mean, you come to peaceful, beautiful villages with their own lore, culture, and religion, and you just smash it all to pieces. Never before has there been a game that so completely captures the essence of Donkey Kong like this before. I mean, here you have an intelligent tribe with shrines, priceless relics, citizens, shops, buildings, streets, and you just come in with your big goofy grin and smash literally everything in your path. And since this is Donkey Kong's game, they love you for it. Like, you could literally just be smashing an entire building to the ground that took decades for them to build, and the shopkeeper's just like, so, you want to buy an apple juice? How about a melon juice? 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 Your entire building is in ruins, sir. I think you have bigger problems on your hands. But enough fooling around. Let's get into what makes this game really tick. I know a metric crap ton of people have already weighed in heavily on this game, but I feel like nobody has quite hit on what is so special about it. But I'm gonna try.
Disclaimer, this review will be relatively free of spoilers, but by the time this video drops, I feel like most people will have already played the game. So while I won't spoil anything huge, there will be an expectation of some familiarity with the game, so keep that in mind. If you really want to experience the game fresh, then I urge you to play it on your own before watching this video because I'm going to get pretty detailed. This is more of an analysis video than a straight review, but anyway, thanks and please be sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe if you like the content.
Here we go. So I think the best place to start off would be the story, because that's the heart of this game, even more so than the gameplay. The gameplay is actually derived from the story itself, as the entire game is about digging and punching your way to the Earth's core. You start off as DK, punching through a wall with your cute little miner helmet, just punching stuff and destroying lives in a place called Ingot Isle, which looks like a giant bunch of bananas, of course. You encounter a treasure trove of gold, which at this point has no real function except gold, pretty. It's funny how gold is so intrinsically valuable in games that even if it has no real function, it's still immediately valuable upon collecting it. Then you come upon some Banandium gems, and just as you're about to chow down on some rock-hard banana because DK's apparently got teeth stronger than diamonds, a giant ball of fiery rock comes down and forces Ingot Isle into the ground. We find out that an evil capitalist mining operation named Voidco, a trio of Kongs who will serve as the main antagonists of the game, is set on destroying anything and everything in its path to reach the planet's core. Why, you ask? Because reasons. You find yourself at the bottom of a chasm and happen upon a cute little rock creature aptly named Odd Rock. So the little rock creature joins you and you find out that this rock's got chords. When they sing, they snap, crackle, pop, and boom! A little girl named Pauline pops out. Yeah, apparently the same Pauline from Super Mario Odyssey, except inexplicably as a little girl. Is this a prequel? Who knows? Maybe I'll talk about that later. And by the way, I'll be talking about Mario Odyssey a lot in this review, so get used to it. So Pauline joins DK, and as we reach the lagoon layer, we meet the Great Kong Elder, and apparently he's a DJ. In fact, all the elders we meet on each respective layer are DJs with their own respective pieces to collect. It's a little strange, but whatever. Pauline sings, and that activates our Bananza form, and that's when we learn that the planet's core, the Banandium root, can fulfill wishes. Pauline wants to get to the surface, and DK wants, well, it's funny to me how an entire heart-pounding adventure can be crafted around a creature whose only real motivation is to eat every single banana in the world. But here we are. Pauline really does add a lot of depth to the adventure and makes DK out to be a more sympathetic character. For a long time, he was seen more as a goofy surfer bro kind of character, and like an older brother buddy character to Diddy. But here we see a protectiveness I don't think we've ever seen from DK before. While he has no speaking lines, you can tell he cares for Pauline a great deal. As we explore further into the story, there's plenty of twists and turns. We come up against Void Kong several times at major twists in the story, but we end up fighting his henchman Grumpy Kong and his vast array of inventions most of all. Poppy Kong is the sleek feminine Kong we fight a handful of times, but she's decidedly easier to beat than Grumpy. Along the way we meet the Fractones, rock creatures made of many different materials with their own villages on various layers throughout the planet. I gotta say, I love these little guys. You know it starts to feel like a Rare game when they start cracking out the googly eyes. They help you buy outfits, items, and even Banandium gems throughout the game. You'll also meet other animal creatures with their own civilizations as well as you dig deeper through the planet, who have their own history, culture, and transformations that go with those layers. They even have a Rare-centric quiz fractone called Quiz Tone that quizzes you on the knowledge of the game. I mean, you could tell the Odyssey team was basically making this game as a love letter to the Rare era of DK games. There's a huge spoilery twist in the story I won't mention here, but I will say for any longtime fans of the Donkey Kong series, and especially the Rare era of Donkey Kong, you not only will be satisfied, but it's probably the most exciting moment in platforming game history, considering everything that's led up to this point. Not to overhype it, but when the levels get deeper and you finally get to that one level, it starts to become clear what the intent with this mysterious story was all along. The gameplay in Donkey Kong Bananza is a revelation, so much so that it needs to be studied. Who would have thought smashing stuff would be so fun? Hell, I want to do it right now. It's one of the most addicting gameplay feedback loops I've experienced in recent memory. You smash things in the environment, collect goodies, defeat baddies, and it's so damn satisfying. For years, a lot of people speculated on what kind of gameplay we would see in a new Donkey Kong game. Would we be swinging on vines? Would it be 2D, maybe even 3D? For a long while, 3D Donkey Kong game theorists were regarded similarly to that of flat earthers. Like, a 3D Donkey Kong game? Oh yeah, right. Next thing you'll be telling me a new Banjo-Kazooie game is in the works. Oh. It's pretty much common knowledge by now that the team behind Super Mario Odyssey at Nintendo created this game. Odyssey was a charming and fun game, but it feels more like a template that this game was built on top of, and I think to resounding success. It borrows the structure, vibe, and tone of that game to fill out its vast amount of worlds you explore, all while building towards something new. I feel as if this game is a bit more of an evolution of what this team originally set out to accomplish with Mario Odyssey, and it really shines through in the gameplay, the graphics, and the story. I can't wait to see what else this team does in the future. Anyway, let's get into the basic mechanics of the game. The most obvious being the destruction feature. You can destroy entire environments to a degree that I've not seen done in a game since perhaps Hulk Ultimate Destruction, some 20 odd years ago. You had similar means of destruction in the prototype games, I think, but if we're drawing comparisons here, it's no contest. I mean, you can even surf on cars in that game. Donkey Kong is the Hulk of this game, and there's truly nobody stronger than him. They might as well call this DK Ultimate Destruction. This game emphasizes Donkey Kong's strength like no other game in franchise history. What used to just be a simple gorilla jumping on baddies' heads a la Mario and swinging on vines a la Tarzan has evolved into a complete powerhouse of destructive energy. Before the game came out, I thought maybe the destruction mechanic might get boring, and it does get a little tedious if that's all you're doing. But that's why you have to mix it up and spread out your destruction with platforming, collecting, and challenges. There's even some nifty puzzles that'll get you scratching your head on how to solve them. There's so much variety in Bonanza that it's a little hard to believe how crammed it is with stuff to do. You can punch forward, upward, grab chunks of rock, surf on them, throw them, swing them, roll forward off a cliff, jump, swing your fist through the air, jump again, and pile drive right into the ground. The sheer amount of options you're afforded in this game for movement for DK is the single reason this game ceases to become boring. And that's not even all you can do. Not only that, but each surface you can smash through has different properties, and you can use these properties in conjunction with other materials for different effects. You can grab ice and slide it through a lake of lava to clear a path, for example. Or you can surf on a chunk of ice through that lake of lava. Certain rocks are more explosive, and you can use them to clear tougher surfaces in your way, or just clear out large areas in a single explosion. You can also use soft materials in certain instances to build or to be used against certain enemies. Yes, even sand has a function in this game. Some surfaces work better to surf on, some work better to be thrown, and some work better to clear out areas of bedrock. The vast array of tools you get by merely utilizing the environment around you is astounding. You also have these challenge rooms you sing to activate, then you punch through them and encounter challenges like defeating all the enemies in a certain amount of time, or platform challenges in these triangle-shaped rooms, which are decidedly more difficult. Completing each challenge nets you a Banandium gem, and they range from pretty damn easy to a fun challenge to, at times, encountering actual difficulty. And yes, these rooms are very much in the same vein as the Super Mario Odyssey challenge rooms. These rooms were fun and all, but I found myself motivated to keep the story going rather than putting myself through every challenge I came across. I think saving them for the post-game is probably more satisfying. You can always come back to all these levels and complete everything at your leisure, one of the game's strong suits it borrows heavily from Odyssey. For me, the perfect way to experience Bananza is to follow the story path and destroy some buildings and collect things on the way. Don't try to destroy every single building or mountain in your path, you'll burn yourself out that way. Instead, take everything in as it naturally comes to you. Relax, the game will still be there tomorrow. Chill, bro, chill! I actually kept myself motivated by following the story path rather than a drive to smash everything in my path. I'll get to the story in a little bit, but it's important to mention how that keeps the gameplay interesting by giving you a destination that is both exhilarating and intriguing. Way more interesting of a plot than Mario Odyssey. Every layer you explore is followed by falling down a hole to the next sublayer. And I don't know why, but it's so exciting when that golden Banandium bunch materializes and shoots down the hole. Then you jump in after that and are filled with wonder at what the next level has in store. It's a grand adventure that feels more and more exciting the deeper you get. Literally. The elegance of this game can't be overstated, and how they take relatively well-tread concepts like entering a portal to a new world and make them fresh and thrilling. It makes me remember why I love the platform genre so much. That feeling of entering a beautiful and mysterious new world and enjoying that feeling of exploring every crevice for collectibles has never been more fun than in Bananza. The way Pauline will ask you if you're okay when your health is low is extremely brilliant, as most games will just have your screen flashing red annoyingly or give you a maddening hurt sound effect. Instead, Pauline merely checking up on you makes sense from a story perspective and a gameplay one as well. Nothing short of brilliant. The way checkpoints in this game work is a bit odd, as there seems to be a multitude of ways of getting around. It borrows the warp system from Odyssey here, except it also includes these rope items that, when activated, drop down a rope for DK to climb up if he falls down a few layers. It's a pretty clever device, but it's not utilized very often, as the Odyssey team strived for more convenience than what makes the most sense in-universe. But I don't mind so much as it's relatively easy to get back to where you need to be at any point in the game. You can warp to getaway houses you build, or different tuning fork checkpoints as well. They even have these gong warps that leap you between worlds as well. Though honestly the game flowed so well I barely ever felt the need to do this. I imagine it's way more useful in the post-game. I haven't seen anyone else mention this yet, but just to give you an idea of how nuanced and imaginative the developers of this game were, you know how in Breath of the Wild when you would climb walls and then slid down when it was too slippery? Well, this game also has that, except they literally turn it into a gameplay feature and have you collect items and avoid obstacles on your way down. Genius. A word on collectibles, of which Bananza has quite a few. I suppose I would put this in the collectathon genre. It's a game that works on many levels. No pun intended. What I mean is, the gameplay is multi-layered. Okay, I'm done now. So the most common collectible you'll come across in this game is Banandium Root Gold. You gather it by smashing rock bed and other surfaces that are chock full of golden pieces. And you'll be doing this a lot. It's ironic that something as valuable as gold, especially in the beginning of the game, becomes something so commonplace and mundane that by the end of the game you see it more as gasoline than you do as a valuable gem to be sold at a pawn shop. Gold fills up your Bananza gauge, and this allows you to transform into your Bananza forms and do things you couldn't do as Donkey Kong, such as smashing through harder surfaces, running fast over crumbling bridges, flying, and much more I won't spoil. Let's just say it gets pretty damn crazy. This team is nuts. What's crazy about the Bananza forms also is that you can still perform all your moves that you normally can as regular DK, except now you're souped up and have special abilities. So it's like you're playing a completely different game with each transformation, changing the way you interact with the world. Not to mention how you can flip between transformations in an instant to sequence break the game, all intentional by the developers. Normally in games where you have transformations, you have an extremely limited moveset, and they basically gimp the game so you can accomplish some menial task in your alternate form like munch the berries or float to the cloud. Then when you change back to your normal self, you feel the game open back up again. Not so in Bananza. Every transformation is an opportunity to further expand the game and see what crazy moves you can pull off and what new areas you can explore. It's truly amazing. Just like how Cappy added a new dimension to the platforming in Odyssey, the Bananza forms add a new playstyle that completely changes the game. So let's say there's a cliff surface you can't quite reach with a chasm in between the wall and DK, and the wall is slippery to boot. How do you get up there? Well, just change into your snake form and bounce high up. Then fly as ostrich to get across the chasm. See? Easy. Also, you can transform into a snake in this game. A snake with arms, and hands, and pecs. Seriously, who's your supplier, Odyssey team? Tell me now! The Banandium Gold, as valuable as you think it would be, doesn't really work like you'd think. While you can use it to purchase items at the item shop like balloons, apple, and melon juice, you can't use it to buy outfits. Why the hell not? Instead, they have you collect these fossils you obtain by pummeling your way through the ground and digging them up like some kind of psychotic rampaging paleontologist. Some of them are pretty cleverly hidden and give the environments more intrinsic value by making you more of an excavator than a destroyer of worlds hell-bent on total annihilation. My only problem with them is all the fossils are layer specific, so you basically start over with different fossil types every layer, which means your fossil currency essentially starts over from scratch every time. It's a bit frustrating when you collect all these cool fossils, and then you enter a new layer, and you can't buy anything until you've basically decimated the entire level to find new fossil types. Which, not to worry, I was just going to destroy your whole city anyway, you just gave me an incentive to do so, this game is crazy. Imagine coming to the US and we offered cool merch to people who came to destroy our cities. This game is wild and makes no damn sense at times, but I love it. The outfits you can buy, or I guess barter, by trading in fossils, are a neat way to upgrade some of DK and Pauline's abilities, from giving you more luck with collecting treasure chests to enhancing your Bananza forms. Every outfit has different bonuses attached to them, but ultimately they serve as a form of player expression where you can make DK and Pauline look however you want. I just wish we had more color palette options for each outfit. It sucks to try and take advantage of an outfit bonus but dislike how your character actually looks. I also kind of expected there to be more outrageous outfits for DK, considering the sheer amount of outfit options Mario had in Odyssey. But that's a small nitpick. Maybe DLC? Then there's the Banandium Gems, clearly this game's evolution of Odyssey's Power Moons, the most valuable collectible in the game. The one way in which the Banandium Gems improve upon Power Moons is they're not used to open up new worlds anymore. Instead, they're gathered to upgrade your skill tree in this game. Yes, you have skills you can upgrade like you're playing an RPG or something. Ooh, fancy. What's great about this change is it encourages you to collect Banandium Gems in order to play the game better by enhancing your skills. You can unlock new moves, upgrade established moves, and overall strengthen your character's health and ability to collect other items in the game. It's a fantastic change that empowers the player to keep collecting more gems to steadily upgrade their character throughout the game. Pauline is your companion in this game, and she'll chime in fairly often to give you hints on collectibles, alert you to when you're low on health, an extremely elegant system I must say, and also has a lot to say before you go to sleep in these getaway houses as well.
Hey, DK, you awake? You're not going to believe this, but I got to try some barnacle soup. And it was yummy. Seriously, it tasted kind of like crab.
Still, she does a great job of motivating the player to get through the story and gives you more of an emotional reason to power through these worlds than just, monkey want banana. That said, I can see how she might get annoying after a while for some people, and there is no way to turn off her comments in the menu, which is unfortunate. Coming off of Mario Kart World, it was a breath of fresh air to receive a game like Bananza with so many options for play, and yet sometimes it can still feel pretty limiting. I don't think there's even a volume slider for all the different audio in the game, which is odd. Odd like a rock, am I right? Sorry. Pauline's singing plays a pretty big part in this game, as without it, you can't transform into your Bananza form, as you'll see later in the game. You also need to sing in order to break the seal on these voided areas that lead you to new sublayers. She also will alert you to items marked on your map, like fossils, Banandium gems, and more. Overall, I think it was a brilliant choice to include her in the game, as she adds a lot of depth, heart, and stakes to both the gameplay and story. Way more useful than Kazooie ever was. The getaway houses are like clinics you come across to restore your health, except the way they function is actually more investment-based, kind of like Monopoly. You can buy multiple getaway houses in a layer, and with every house you buy, you can gain an extra heart. So if you have 3 getaway houses in a layer, not only can you fill up your health, but now you have 3 extra hearts because you were investing in it this whole time. Pretty cool idea I've never seen before in a game. You can collect records when they appear at random, which allows you to slowly open up the game's soundtrack, and you can play these records in-game at the getaway houses, which is a neat little bonus. You can even tip the host of this 3-star motel, who looks right at you as you go to sleep if you so choose. Go for it. I dare you. The balloons are a godsend in this game, because without them, I believe this game would be way more frustrating to play. The forgiving nature of Bananza lends itself more to valuing fun over just straight up difficulty, and while the Donkey Kong Country games are known for their historic difficulty, I prefer the former whenever possible. I didn't find as much use for the melon juice as, like I said earlier, Banandium Root Gold is literally everywhere, so filling up your Bananza gauge will seldom be a real issue. I mean, unless you just never smash the terrain for gold, in which case you'll be broke and dead. Basically, if you don't participate in the game's main mechanic for whatever reason, melon juice will be way more valuable to you. But why wouldn't you want to be a city-smashing terrorist is my question. The apple juice is a bit more useful, especially in large-scale fights, as it refills your health as soon as you reach 0, giving you a bit more longevity in a scuffle. But even still, you probably won't need it very much because this game is on the easier side, thankfully. To sum up the gameplay, I'll leave you with this. I first started to feel that I actually loved this game not when you could surf on a rock, not when you transformed into Kong Bananza. It was in the forest layer when I found out you could throw these acorn seed things at the wall and have it sprout a little path that led straight to you. Then I realized you could throw them pretty much anywhere and grow a path every time. That's when I realized this game will literally let you do pretty much anything. When it comes to the graphics in this game, you can tell just by looking at it that the Odyssey team took the basic framework of the art direction in Mario Odyssey and just built on top of it brick by brick, and they created something truly awe-inspiring. We went from Mario's relatively tiny, cute adventure to Donkey Kong's terrain-smashing journey of epic proportions.
People change, Frank. Look at me. I went from a tiny twink to the muscle-bound freak you see before you.
Like in Mario Odyssey, Bananza is big on texture work, and you can tell from the various surfaces you can smash through that they focused a lot of their energy on what surfaces DK can manipulate and which ones he can't, which ones he can climb and which ones he slips down, which surfaces interact with other surfaces, and so on. The Odyssey team put some serious work into carving out the logic of this game world, and all of it is translated visually extremely well. Bananza maintains the same graphical flair and fidelity as Mario Odyssey, with less of a focus on realism and more on fantastical visuals meant to capture your imagination. I think people assume a Donkey Kong game has to feel more realistic, since it's obviously set in the real world, as opposed to Mario's fantastical Mushroom Kingdom. But this game makes a good case for why that doesn't have to necessarily be the case, because you can still make it feel like Donkey Kong and keep that fantasy feel intact. One thing about the worlds in this game, they are absolutely freaking beautiful. Platform games have this tendency, especially in Mario games, of making their worlds feel like cliches. Grass world, ice world, lava world, desert world, etc. And the last thing you want to be is boring. Well, Donkey Kong Bananza accomplishes the arduous task of not only making me excited to enter each new world, but making those new worlds feel fresh and exciting every time. For example, the forest layer isn't just a stock forest world, it's a rainforest, and it's a hotel ran by ostriches. What a crazy idea. This place is incredible to look at and makes you feel like you're in an N64 promo render. The forest layer makes the Lost Kingdom in Odyssey feel like a Lego playset in comparison. I mean, don't get me wrong, I liked a lot of the themed worlds in Mario Odyssey, but a lot of them were kinda hit or miss for me. Some of them even had bizarre music tracks paired with them, which I thought was a little weird. Like, why did Steam Gardens have a surf-style 1960s soundtrack? Guess that's neither here nor there. I remember when I was a kid and wanting to play a next-gen Banjo game so badly. I imagined what the graphics would look like, and I'm not gonna lie, this is what I imagined it to be like. This is what I've wanted for the past 30 years in a platform game. And each world is a banger, for the most part. One world I wasn't crazy about was the freezer layer. I liked the idea of the whole place being made of ice cream, but I just felt like everything was too white. It started to get better when you got deeper into the layer and they mixed some lava with chocolate. It's like you're going through an entire ice cream sundae, which is an extremely creative idea. I love it. It's just, your entrance into that world is so stark and white, which I kinda had the same feeling about Mario Odyssey's Snow Kingdom, albeit the concept was done way better in this game. Every world has a creative theme to it, but there's one world in particular that deserves a special mention, that upon realizing what kind of world it was, I lost my ever-loving mind. I think you know what I'm gonna say, so I'm just gonna blurt it out. Burger World. Yes, burgers. Everything is made of burger. Even the buildings look like burger meat or cheese. They even have giant fries. And you can even build a giant freaking burger. Then you can punch and dig your way through all the layers of burger. Insane. This game is literally insane. Dude, after I played this level, I literally went out and got myself a Wendy's bacon cheeseburger and fries. No joke. Mix this world with the freezer layer and I could have had a Wendy's Frosty as well. Actually, I did, so never mind. They say this world is a factory. The Rock with Eyes told me so. They apparently make banana burgers here. I mean, I don't see how, as the burger meat looks pretty damn real to me, but whatever. So it's a banana burger factory. Except they make it feel like a damn theme park, complete with attractions like a Ferris wheel, swinging ships, a haunted world, roller coasters, and more. Like seriously, Odyssey team, which form of Chronic were you partaking that day when you came up with this one? Because clearly y'all had the munchies. Easily my favorite world. 10 out of 10. That pretty much cinched the game for me at that point. This game deserves all the awards, all the praise, and if everyone isn't giving this game a 10 out of 10, you have no soul and the child inside you is dead. That said, some of the sub-layers aren't given the same attention and love as the main layers, which is a shame, but it's also good because they don't wear out their welcome. Certain aesthetics kind of go to waste, which is a shame because, for example, there's a garbage layer. And I feel like we could have really gotten some creative bosses and villagers in this layer that could have really amped up the twisted flavor of this game even more. I mean, just imagine a whole culture built around the trash accumulated from other layers. But it's over before you even get that invested. They do serve as fun little diversions on your way toward the more substantial layers though, so I can't really complain. Some layers didn't feel as fleshed out either, like the racing layer, which was basically just a giant racetrack, and once you're done with the race, you smash a gold cup and leave. It was cool meeting Diddy and Dixie and they slap some lore on you, but then they're gone and you never see them again. Kinda lame, not gonna lie. Then there's the resort layer. Once I reached it, I expected it to be a fully realized resort experience with its own towns, citizens, and culture, but again, it's over before you even get that deep. It's funny how all the layers they didn't put too much work into, they just filled out with fractone villagers, almost like they're placeholders. It's not that big a deal, but it is something to note how uneven the game feels at times in terms of world building. Odyssey had this problem too, actually. Like, I can't think of why the resort layer is even important in any way besides them needing an obvious tropical beach world. But what completely redeems this layer is the discovery of the rainbow rock material, which upon grabbing a chunk of it makes you float up high into the air. Then there's these creatures you can punch, and they fly off, leaving a trail of rainbow behind them, which you could then use as a bridge, which you know is going to have gameplay implications later on. So all in all, the world served as a showcase for yet another brilliant gameplay feature. The layers get more and more creative as you traverse this fantastic and visually imaginative world. Overall, it's probably the most incredible display of creative and insane world theming since Psychonauts 2, arguably the peak of platform game art direction. I could go on and on about this game's world and visuals, but I'm not going to. I'll listen to some Kong Bananza theme music instead. Speaking of which, the music in this game is great. That said, a lot of it felt like I was just listening to Mario Odyssey's soundtrack. Like, am I crazy? Some of these tracks legit feel like they were ripped straight from Odyssey. Okay, I'm imagining things. In some ways, I love the soundtrack even more than Odyssey's. The music is full of percussion instruments you would expect to hear in a Donkey Kong game, and even some new tracks that were a bit surprising. Some retro tracks get a fresh coat of paint on them, some inspirations are taken from the DKC games, while some feel more inspired by DK64's tracks. It's too bad that David Weiss and Grant Kirkhope weren't contracted to help with the music on this game, because I feel like it would be even better. But I still think what we got ended up being a beautiful blend of old and new music compositions that make the game feel fresh yet inspired. There's this track in Ingot Isle that feels so random and yet so appropriate. It's just this 80s glam rock hit. It feels like you've been planted right into an arcade room in 1986. I don't know why, but I love how perfectly it pairs with the construction zone aesthetic, complete with girders and neon signs. It's almost like they're trying to put you into the world of the original Donkey Kong arcade game. In fact, that's exactly what they did. Holy shit! I have to also mention Pauline's addition to the game's soundtrack, which can't be overstated. How they gave her a smash hit single for every single Bananza transformation. My favorite is the ostrich one. I mean, every time there's a boring gaming trope such as transformation music, the Odyssey team figures out a way to completely innovate the crap out of it and makes it this rave rock concert every time you transform. F***ing brilliant. I should also mention the sound effects. Oh my god, this game sounds so good with every single smash of DK's fists. And some sound effects are legit lifted straight from Odyssey. No joke. Every material has its own distinct sound effect. Every bit of it is just simply S tier, and it makes the gameplay feel way more punchy. No pun intended. DK's grunts and various sounds are perfect. Again, 10 out of 10. As for the difficulty, look, you want to make it fun for kids as well as adults to play, so a balance needs to be achieved. While Bananza can be difficult in areas, it's very much in the same spirit of Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, where it gets increasingly difficult the more you play the secret areas in the game, rather than the main quest. The main quest itself will be pretty manageable for audiences of all ages, with difficulty spiking in various challenge rooms and the like. A lot of players right now are complaining about the boss fights in the game being too easy when using your Bananza form. My opinion on that is, you're supposed to feel powerful in your Bananza form, so mission accomplished? That said, I'm not what you'd call an elite gamer, but I'm no slouch either. I think if you value fun over extreme difficulty, you'll have a good time with Bananza. It's clear to me with all the decisions the Odyssey team made with this game, that they had this philosophy instilled in every part of it. And for me, it hit that Goldilocks zone of just right. That last boss was a bit of a bitch though, I must say. A challenging bitch, but a bitch nonetheless. Overall, Donkey Kong Bananza is the game that I didn't know that I needed in my life, and I needed it for quite some time. I have to say, as a Rare fan, you don't get many games like this that come along every day. This is basically everything I wanted from a new Banjo game for the longest time, except it's Donkey Kong. I might be in the minority here, but I never cared too much for the DKC games on SNES. I was way more into Banjo-Kazooie on the N64, and thus DK64 always appealed to me more. That Rare charm has always been so special. That wry wit, the immersive worlds, quirky characters, and unmistakable Rare charm is something I've not seen replicated for a long time, even from Rare themselves. I think something happened when they got bought out by Microsoft, and now they're just a shell of their former selves. And the platform genre has felt devoid of magic ever since. Sure, there's some flashes of brilliance here and there from time to time, but I've never seen a real revival of that magic I felt with the N64 era of Rare games. And now, I feel it with Donkey Kong Bananza. It's a great feeling, guys. I really don't know what else to say, other than, thank you, Nintendo. Thank you, Odyssey team. You have awoken inside me a feeling that I thought was long dead. And I feel like... He's
finally back to kick some tail. Here's a coke and a gun. Can fire in spurts if he shoots ya.
10 out of 10. DK Stonk's way up.